Hi, welcome to MarioCast, the piano podcast. I'm your host, Mario O'Hara. Not too long ago, I did a video podcast on how to play about 4 measures of the song Clocks by the British group Coldplay. And I was really surprised at how much feedback that I got, positive feedback that I got from that little short, under 5-minute video piano lesson. I decided to syndicate it and put it up on YouTube.com and Google Video. And on YouTube.com, it already has received over 2,600 views. So I'm really appreciative of all the people who went to go ahead and view that and post comments and email me feedback on it. You can see even that some sites even linked the video and put it up on their own website or blogs, such as ilearnmusic.com. There's the Stingy Scholar blog, and there's also another blog called mycoldplay.com. So I thought I'd share a few other Coldplay piano riffs that aren't too hard to do. And I'll start with one of their older songs, the one that I played at the opening of this podcast, and that's the song called Trouble from their album Parachutes. So if you look over here, I transcribed again about the first 4 measures of the song Trouble. So in the left hand, the first harmony that's being suggested is G major. If you're not familiar with these particular terms, that's okay. I'll be going over each of the notes individually as well. But starts off with a G major. In the left hand, I just play a fifth between G and D. And then I repeat the D afterwards just to kind of fill in the gaps. I'll show my hands in about a second here. Right after that, I follow it up with an E minor in first inversion. And this is, in the left hand, it's only played with G and E. And again, I do the same thing. I play the E twice with the thumb and hold that out just to fill it up. And then the next measure, we have B minor. I play first the B and the F sharp, and then I play a D to fill in the harmonies right after that, an 8th note right after. And you hold that for the whole measure. And then in the third measure, third full measure that is, you have the same thing as the first full measure. You have the G and D, 5th, and then you have the G and E, and then you have the again, the same thing in the 4th measure as the 2nd measure, the B minor, which is B and F sharp, followed by D in the middle. So let's take a look at my hands and see what's going on there. So for the first G fifth, you want to put your 5th finger, your pinky on G and your thumb on D. And play it like so. And then to get to the E minor, first inversion, or the G and the E, all you have to do is slide this thumb 1 note over to E, and you play this. And then the next harmony is the B minor, that is B and F sharp, and then you fill in the D in the middle with your 3rd finger. Okay. So let me review those 2 measures again for you. Here's G and D, here's G and E, and here's B and F sharp. Fill in the D in the middle, and that's repeated again in the 3rd and 4th measures. Okay. If you got your keyboard, you can play along with me. I'll play both hands, but if you want to just try the left hand, that's okay. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so how about the right hand? Well, if you take a look at the music here, the main motive or the main musical idea, that short musical idea that is utilized in the right hand are these 4 16th notes, which are F sharp, G, F sharp, and D. Okay? And in a row, they sound like this. Now what happens on in between, that of course varies from measure to measure. So in between these 16th notes, you have this long dotted 8th note on B, and that's followed by another short B with a 16th note, and that acts as a little bit of a pickup or lead-in into the next group of 16th notes. And that's repeated again here on the 3rd beat, leading into the 4th beat. So the first full measure, or pickup into the first full measure, sounds like this. And then you end it on a half note there at the end. I usually sneak in a little B minor chord there in between that first half of the phrase and then the next phrase that we're going to get into here. Make sure you play it really soft though. You don't want it to kind of just jump out right at you, but you just kind of sneak it in there in the background. And then you play another B pickup into a 16th note pattern, but instead of playing the F sharp, G, F sharp, D pattern, substitute the F sharp with an A. So you end up with that. And then the next two measures are the same. And then when you repeat back to the very beginning of the phrase, you play that B pickup again. So let's look at our right hand and how that fits in on the keyboard. I would put your 4th finger in your right hand on F sharp, and then that should let you have your 5th finger naturally fall on G. 2nd finger will be on D, and then your thumb will cover B. So you should cover these 4 notes with those respective fingers. And that should allow you to be able to play the first full measure, like so. And when you have to play that A on top, you just have to do a momentary shift in hand position so that you end up with your 5th finger on A, 4th finger on G, 3rd finger on F sharp, and your 2nd finger and your thumbs stay on D and B respectively. So you're covering that for a second, and you'll end up with this. Right? And then you shift everything back to the way it was in the very first measure, like so. So now that you're feeling pretty good with the right hand, or maybe not, why don't you try playing the right hand along with me while I play both hands, both left hand and right hand, but you guys can just try the right hand here. 1, 2, 3. So why don't I play it one more time, and you can take a look at both hands to see how it all fits together. I had a few people send in some email and comments, and I'd like to share a few of those with you. This is from Amir. He says, I just downloaded your Clocks podcast and was wondering if you could do more of those with other famous songs, especially Coldplay ones. One I would really like to see is Speed of Sound. If that's possible, that would be great. Thanks. Well, Amir, yes, I think I can oblige you with that, and I'll do that on either the next podcast or some future video podcast. This is from Jelmer in the Netherlands, and he saw my video on video.google.com. Jelmer got out an old keyboard that they used to have and says he can now play clocks a bit, but it will be better because I will practice frequently. Metal Huey on YouTube.com says, "This video was spectacular. If only more people could teach like you. I look forward to seeing more of your videos with more pop songs or even something classical. This video deserves to be featured." Terry Bush, also from YouTube.com, says, "Thank you for taking the time to do this. Really helpful and really appreciated. Well done." And finally, Jason from the UK writes on my blog, "Just came across this video at Google Video. Very cool. Now I'm forced to buy the sheet music because of you. As an idea, you should look into monetizing your site by adding AdSense or something. Just a thought now that I'm inspired to buy stuff." Thanks for the advice, Jason, and I really didn't get into this to make any money off of it. However, if I'm inspiring viewers like you to buy, certain sheet music and songs, well then why shouldn't I get a little cut of that action? Rather than using Google AdSense, I decided to use Linkshare and become a Linkshare partner with the iTunes Music Store and also musicnotes.com. So if you go to the right-hand side of my blog or web page, you'll find these two new links under Linkshare sponsors. One is for the iTunes Music Store and another one is for musicnotes.com. So if you buy any music from either of these online music stores, then a percentage of those sales will go to your very underpaid music teacher. I'm also going to use Linkshare for individual products that are directly related to specific podcast content. Let's say you wanted to buy a recording of the song Trouble. Just go to the blog/podcast post. You can click on either of the two iTunes badges, one to buy the actual digital audio song and one to buy the digital music video. And then yay, I have some spare change to buy like a cup of coffee or something. Right underneath that, you have a link to purchase the sheet music to the whole album of Coldplay's Parachutes, and that contains the song Trouble. That's from musicnotes.com. Musicnotes.com also has a digital sheet music version of the album, and I put a link to that right below, and yes, it's all legal. That'll do it for this episode of the Piano Podcast. Until next time, keep practicing.